I was talking to a client who's very accomplished. The woman, really long rap sheet in a good way, like really,
Yes.
really long accomplishments. And she kept apologizing may not be the right word, but she kept downplaying and she kept kind of playing it a little bit like, well, I haven't really accomplished much. And I thought I noticed that. And then hours later, the next day, I was chatting with this guy who kind of the opposite, has not accomplished that much at all, but was talking about his accomplishments in a way that was very extra amplified what was actually there. And I have to admit, I have a little bit of a track record in my friends, and that the women tend to downplay and the men possibly brag. Is that your experience at all?
Oh, well, it's so interesting you should say that, because I was just reading an article which was exactly about that a woman who was very accomplished, I think it was at a film festival, it was very accomplished, and she was what I would call was diminishing.
Yes.
It wasn't she was outright dismissing, but she was sort of diminishing her accomplishments. And they were looking at that. They referenced what is called the tall poppy syndrome. And I was very interested. I looked it up. I looked up the link because that's what we call the upper limit problem. So the tall poppy syndrome is, don't stick your head up too high, because what happens to a tall poppy is,
wow.
So it's a be careful.
Yeah.
Don't bring too much attention to yourself. And I think it's certainly based in fear. It's certainly based in, people are going to turn on me and, are going to make me feel like I'm being too full of myself.
Yes.
And I think if you look at the stats, you're going to find that that's how girls are raised. At a certain point, there's a sense of, it's better to give than receive, and you want to give attention to other people. Because that's what part of our job is, to make other people feel good about themselves.
I mean, if I'm completely honest, which I am with myself, I don't know about diminish, although it resonates a little bit. Like, I'll speak to having lost all this weight, and it wasn't that. I mean, I know that it's a big accomplishment in my bones, but I talk a little bit about it like, I don't want to be feeling proud about it. And so
when you try that on, so if you were to actually be proud and kind of, sort of get into your strutting your stuff, what happens for you if you get a little strutty?
I mean, it's not familiar. It feels a little, okay. So my body got really hot, like instantly, like heat. It got a little bit, like a little bit antsy on my chair, like a little
squirmy. Yeah.
Squirmy. So if I was to go deep, but the part that's bizarre to me is that I'm actually really proud. That's the truth. I know what it took. I know the courage, the deep work, the commitment, I do. I know.
And the recommitment over and over and over, and the going up against, what you're imagining coming at you from other people's point of view and your history and it's really a climbing Everest kind of accomplishment.
It really is. And there's a part of me that definitely sees that and can sit in that. But it's almost like there is, maybe in the language I've heard you use, there's almost like a persona where I'm like, no big deal. It's like, I don't want to, especially with people that I see struggle with their weight and they haven't succeeded at something they wanted to accomplish. Then I feel like I really have to downplay that I did, as if my succeeding at it was shadowing their not succeeding at it, maybe.
Exactly. As if there's only so much succeeding to go around.
Exactly.
And if you're using it all up, other people aren't going to be able to have it.